Nice.
Skip it up and that up.
What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Rich of Review Tech USA. I am back from my little hiatus, and I am here with something I didn't expect to get. This is the AMD Ryzen press kit that AMD sent out. I actually got an email from them saying, hey Rich, we're looking to send out a press kit to different reviewers. We want to see if you want to build an AMD Ryzen rig, see how it performs. Would you like a press kit? And I was like, oh my God, absolutely, hell yes, please send one now. I didn't expect to be on the list. I don't really usually do tech builds and reviews on my channel that often. That's why I didn't think I was gonna be on the list, but they came to me and I couldn't turn them down. The nice thing about this too is that I am not being paid by AMD. Yes, I get the products, okay? I get the Ryzen chips, but I'm not being paid for a review. This is not an advertisement for them. I could build this machine, try out the CPU, which I'll talk about more, which Ryzen CPU they sent me. And if it's great, I'll let you know. If it lives up to the hype, I'll let you know. And if it sucks and it's a terrible processor, I'll let you know that as well. So here is the actual press kit that I got. There's another extra piece, if I can talk today, another extra piece that also came with it too as well. I'll show you that. But look at this, man. It comes in like some nice wood box. See the AMD Ryzen logo right on top there. So let's crack it open and see what's inside. And whoa, okay. There is I'm gonna guess this is the CPU. Now I think they told me they're sending out the 1800X first, right? Yeah, 1800X. Now this has 20 megabytes of cache. It has 4 megabytes of L2 cache, 16 megabytes of L3 cache. It has a 3.6 gigahertz base clock and a 4 gigahertz turbo precision boost. So I went more into detail with specs in my other AMD video, which I made a few days back. I'll have a link to that below in the description. I'll have also a link in the video right now you can check out as well. Let's crack the chip out and see what it looks like. I'm gonna take a guess that it looks like a processor, but whatever, I'm sure you guys want to see anyway. Maybe some of you guys were Intel only who may make the jump to AMD due to Ryzen may want to see how the pin layout is, because it is different than Intel has pads on their chips and AMD has pins, so it's a little bit different. Also too, this is the 8, now I'm actually gonna get the 1700 and 1700X, which I just found out. I didn't think I was, I thought I was just gonna get the AMD Ryzen 1800X to test out, but I'm getting those chips too. Now the interesting thing, the only one of those three chips that I mentioned, the 1800X, the 1700X, and the 1700, the Ryzen chips, the only one that's gonna come with a cooler is the entry level, the 1700, because they're assuming that if you're buying the most cost efficient chip, you're not gonna be doing a bunch of overclocking, so they give you a stock cooler, whereas if they think you're buying an 1800X, which actually goes toe to toe with an Intel processor that's over double the price, they assume you're going to get some kind of either really nice air cooler or some kind of closed loop liquid cooler, or make your own custom cooling, so they don't include a cooler. So just thought I'd let you guys know that too. Now we got, and there it is, AMD Ryzen. Don't know if you can see it. Ah, you can see the logo. There you go. There you go. That is the processor. Will I take it out? Will I take it out? I think I will. I think I will. I'm not going to actually take it out of the plastic, but because I'm anal. I know I probably should, but I'm very OCD with this stuff. They give me a sticker. I am all sorts of messed up looking at this upside down camera right now. They give you the Ryzen logo sticker there. And make sure I stay under the lens. And here is the processor. If you turn it over, AMD still has, they still didn't go to the pads like Intel, but that's fine. I have no issue with the pins or the pads under the processor. So there it is. AMD still rocking the pins, which is fine. I heard this chip is a beast. I cannot wait to, oh my God. There we go. I cannot wait to build a rig and check it out. So very cool stuff. I'm gonna put this back carefully. All right, let's take a look at what else we got in here. Your Ryzen is here. They did a really, they're taking some notes with Intel with their sending out press kits. Intel sends out some pretty badass press kits, and this is definitely, this whole wood container thing, it's awesome. Are you ready for AMD Ryzen? And they also sent me 16 gigs, which is pretty generous of them. Actually, for a processor of this caliber, they should send out 16 gigs of Corsair DDR4 memory. It runs at 3000 megahertz, 16 gigabytes, so cool stuff. I actually bought the exact same memory. I'm gonna have 32 gigs inside of the 1800X rig, excuse me. I feel a rig of this caliber should have 32 gigabytes, especially if you're doing video editing and stuff. But 16, you could definitely, that's pretty damn sufficient. So cool, they sent me out 2 sticks of DDR4 memory, 2 times 8, each stick is 8 gigabytes. All right, let's crack the RAM open here. I actually wasn't gonna open up the RAM, but I know you guys may wanna see the heat spreader on it, so let's take a look at it. I'm not gonna take it out of the plastic though, just to keep it safe, but yeah, there you go. It's Corsair Vengeance RAM. You've probably seen it a billion times before. DDR4, and there's 2 8 gigabyte sticks of it, so plenty of RAM there. Like I said, I got the exact same memory. I got another 16 gigs, so this rig will have 32 gigabytes of RAM inside of it. But this is the thing that's worthwhile to actually crack open and show to you guys. This is, they sent me a Gigabyte AX370 Gaming 5 motherboard. Obviously it's socket AM4, this is what the Ryzen chips are. It has USB 3.1 Gen 2 on there, NVMe, PCI Express, they have M.2, U.2 on there. So it's full of a whole bunch of current gen goodies. Oh my God, thank God I did not get my finger in there. Move the box out of the way. Which, it's funny because the AM3 Plus socket was around for so long for the FX processors. That chip, the FX chips really didn't support too much of new stuff. Like, I think it was PCI Express 2.0 on there. They didn't even go up to PCI Express 3. USB 3 wasn't native. They actually, if you wanted USB 3 on an FX, rig, you had to have a separate chipset on the motherboard because again, the FX 8350 didn't support natively USB 3. So yeah, it was getting long in the tooth, but now I know why AMD took so long to come out with a new processor, because they started from scratch. Lisa Su, the CEO of AMD, actually said they started straight from the drawing board 4 years ago and built the Ryzen architecture from the ground up, and which is smart because they needed to. But anyway, let's take a look at this motherboard here. And again, I'm very anal with this stuff. I do apologize. I don't just rip into boxes. Let's take a look there. So what do we have here? The full fat PCI Express slot is right there, 16X. And I thought there was a spider that came out of me on there. No, that was just a piece of flux from solder. Okay. I jumped, I don't know if you saw that on camera. Then we have an 8X PCI Express slot, a 4X one. So if you want to do Crossfire, or I'm going to assume SLI. Yes, they have NVIDIA SLI in the motherboard, smart move. There's your M.2 slot right there for hard drive, or an SSD, M.2 SSD. Plenty of hard drive connections for SATA on the motherboard there, and U.2 connections as well. So you can hook up a ton of hard drives, do RAID arrays if you need to or want to. 4 slots for RAM expansion, and obviously I haven't put this board in a case yet, but it looks like they have LEDs that light up too as well, so, which I'm neither here nor there about, but hey, it's cool, it's there if that's your thing. And we will take a look at the I/O. Plenty of USB 3 ports, gigabit LAN back there, USB-C type connector. It also has HDMI on the motherboard, which means it has a video chipset on the motherboard, because remember, Ryzen chips do not have any kind of video built into them. They don't have no kind of GPU, integrated GPU on the actual Ryzen processor, so unless the motherboard has something on it, you do not have any kind of graphics. You have to have your own dedicated graphics. And you have SPDIF out and audio surround out on here. So pretty cool motherboard. Definitely seems like it's top tier stuff. And I'm sure I've had great luck with Gigabyte in the past. Pretty much, I've only had one hiccup I remember a few years ago, but generally I've had very good luck with Gigabyte, and I'm sure this board will serve me very well. And last but not least, AMD sent me a Noctua Air Tower cooler, which actually, what's funny is this is the first time I've actually used a Noctua cooler. I know they make a great product, but a lot of times when I used Air Tower coolers, I use the Cooler Master Evo 212. So this will be interesting to use. Like I said, I've heard nothing but good things about Noctua, so let's crack it open and see what it looks like. Here are all the accessories that you need to hook it up to AM4 processors or AM4 motherboards. I'm not going to actually dig these out here. I don't want to lose anything, to be perfectly honest with you. And they gave you thermal compound with it, so that's pretty sweet. Most importantly though, let's take a look at the cooler itself. Let's see if I can do this without busting up the box. This thing's heavy. Come on. Come on. Ah, seriously? Ah, okay. Yeah, I put way too much thought into that for just taking a cooler out of a box. But here it is. It actually looks very similar to, it's actually a little more low profile, but it looks very similar to the Evo 212 from Cooler Master. Again, I actually like using non-water cooled or liquid cooled coolers for CPUs because there's less chance of leaks and issues, and if you have something good and beefy like this, you can actually do some decent overclocking with it as well. I've come to learn. Yes, closed loop coolers and liquid cooling definitely gives you more performance, or you can actually eke out better overclocks with it, but a good air cooler, I prefer them personally, and this looks like it's pretty beastly. So this will be nice to hook up to the Ryzen rig when everything's set up and ready to go. So thank you AMD for sending out this cooler, because like I said, the 18800X chip does not come with a CPU cooler, and this will definitely, it seems like anyway, it'll do the job. All right, folks, here is the press kit as a whole that AMD has sent to me, minus the beautiful wooden suitcase that they've actually put all these parts in. Huge shout out to AMD for sending out these parts. I'm very excited to put this rig together and see how Ryzen performs. And like I said, I'm also going to be building another rig where I'm going to try out the Ryzen 7 1700 and 1700X processors. So it's going to be really cool to test all these chips out and see if they actually live up to the hype that AMD has surrounding these new chips. So I'll have videos up on the Ryzen 7 1800X relatively soon, probably say about a week or so. I got to put the rig together and put it through its paces. And when I do, make sure you subscribe to this channel to see how Ryzen 7 processors perform. This is Rich of Review Tech USA signing out. Have a good one.